What is up, Catalyst Youth? I am so excited to be here with you again for Wednesday Night Live. I got my chat going over here, and so I am ready. I have set the correct settings. For those of you that weren't here with us Monday for our Bible study, I forgot to change the setting to low. Actually, it's ultra low latency, which means that I'm getting comments almost in real time. And so Monday, I'm like 2 minutes behind on comments. It was terrible, and I apologize for those of you that were with me. Good morning, Dylan. It is so good to have you here. Shane wants to know if this is still funny, and it absolutely is hilarious. I will continue to play that countdown timer well into our coronavirus experience. Before we begin, I want you to know that last week, with a whopping 13 comments, Peyton Lamance won our challenge, our Grubhub challenge. And so, congratulations, Peyton. I dropped off his food Friday. We're going to do the challenge again, but there's a couple of new rules, so get ready. There's two new rules. First, you have to have your friend comment your name before I start our lesson video, which is going to be in about 5 or 10 minutes. The second thing is you have to have them subscribe to our page. Subscribe, comment your name before the video starts. Whoever gets the most, Landon is over here. Landon, boom, there's Landon's hand. Landon is keeping track. He will let me know who wins this week, and I will bring you whatever food you want to your house, just like Grubhub, except for it's Justin Hub. Is that? No, that's weird. It's food delivered by Justin. There we go. A couple of announcements for you. First of all, I want you to know that Project Faith Works has been canceled for this year. In case you haven't heard yet, we just don't have the time to collect the funds and to do everything we need to do to make that happen. So we had to shut that down. As of right now, everything else is still happening. We're still exploring potentially moving the church gathering to a different time, maybe June or July. Still having it over the summer, I think, but we're not going to probably be able to meet in May. Okay, and then another thing, we have a new series. It's not new. We've been doing it for a couple of weeks on Fridays at noon called You Think You Know Worship. This Friday is going to be with one of my mentors and really good friends. His name's Jeff Morris, and I have a short clip that I'd like to show you of Jeff and of this Friday's video. Here it is.
Well, we are created to be worshipers. We are hardwired to have a relationship with our God and to give our worship to something. Mm-hmm. So those outside of the faith are worshipers. Those within the faith are worshipers. And man, don't trust your heart. We've got to always be redirecting ourselves back to the one true source and the one true worthy recipient of our worship.
All right. So we are doing this series. It's called You Think You Know Worship. I am talking with some of my friends and people I know that know what worship is, and they've led worship, and they've been worship pastors, and all sorts of awesome people that are weighing in on this question, what is worship? And so for sure, check that out Friday at noon. It premieres, which means it's not live, but there is a live chat open. So we have usually several people in the live chat. I'm in the live chat. I'll be there with you, chatting you up. So with that being said, we are going to continue in our series, What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do. Does anyone remember what we talked about last week? I'm looking at the chat. I know there was a little bit of lag there. That was on our side, but I think the internet didn't drop out. I just lagged for a minute. I apologize. What did we talk about last week? Does anyone remember? Last week, what to do when we don't know what to do. We were in the book of Genesis, chapter 36, I believe, 37, I'm sorry. And last week we were talking about Joseph. And we said when we don't know what to do, what? Anybody got anything for me on this? So far, the chat is all over it. Totally loving this. I'm really trying to stall from starting the video so you guys have a chance to get someone to come in and comment your name. I don't think we've had any yet, have we, Lyndon? None. Wow. All right. So I guess I'll get myself Grubhub this week, and you guys just will have to... Yeah, we'll have to miss out. Okay, well, if we're not going to get any comments there, then I will go ahead and pray and roll us into our video. Let's pray. Father, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for the opportunity that we have to meet together digitally on the interwebs and be able to chat with each other and feel some type of connection with our friends. Lord, I ask that you would use this time to help us to lean into you, to get to know you better, to grow in our relationship with you. Father, we love you. We praise you. And we thank you for everything that you do in our lives. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. I'm going to roll our video. Let's do it.
So, when you don't know how to do something, how to fix something, or how something works, what do? Ask a teacher? Ask your parents? Ask your friends? Ask someone you really know and trust? No! You go to the internet and ask some randos. But I'm not talking about creeps here, I hope. No, I mean the people of the internet! You know, those people who make how-to videos. Because chances are, if you're trying to figure out something, someone on the internet has already figured it out for you. Things like, how do I unsend a text? No. How do I do a winged eyeliner? How do I get rid of the zit by Friday night? How do I get out of gym class? How do I screen cap Snapchat without getting caught? They'll never know. But then there are things in life that don't have an easy fix, that don't have a simple solution, that don't have a how-to video. Things like what to do when you have problems with family, or when it seems like you have no control in your life, or what to do when someone has done something to you. I mean, clearly, they gotta go. The truth is, there's a lot of life that doesn't have a solution you can just find online. So how do you know what to do when you don't know what to do?
How many of you overuse emojis when you text? Actually, scratch that. How many of you would say that there's no such thing as overusing emojis? I bet some of you can maintain an entire text thread only using emojis, and your friends would know exactly what you're talking about. Here's some of my personal favorite emojis in the world. First, laughing tear face. I use this one all the time. Sometimes I like to mix things up using the laughing cat tear face, which really sounds weird when you say it out loud. When my friends and I send each other dumb gifts, a lot of laughing tear faces are sent in response. I also like the green face. Maybe I'm overly sensitive to smells, but I tend to use it a lot. Like, I'll give you a couple examples. If my friend texts me, just change the diaper, insert green face. Just walked into the locker room at my gym, insert green face. Just took my shoes off, insert green face. And finally, the sad face with the tears streaming down. Whether I'm sad about something serious or something lighthearted, this emoji is sure to follow. Like when my friend texts me on Sunday and says, just drove through the Chick-fil-A line and I realized it's Sunday. That one gets a lot of sad faces with tears streaming down. And that's the beauty of emojis. They help us talk about how we feel without using a lot of words. On the other hand, there are a few emojis that I don't use as often. But when I do, I think they pack a punch and they say a little bit more than my usual go-tos. I like the first one the best, the face without a mouth, because it represents those moments where you simply have no words to say. I use this when I hear about something or when something happens that I just can't make sense of. I'd say that most of the time, these shocked emojis are sent along with a text message that reports something happening that was shocking in a bad way. Something that catches us off guard and hits us out of nowhere. These things don't happen every day, but when they do, they can affect us in a big way. Have you ever experienced anything in your life like that? Something that simply rocked your world, caught you off guard, made you feel uncertain, or caused you a lot of hurt? Maybe you felt this way when you got the news your parents were splitting up, even though you had no idea things were that bad. Maybe a friend had something hurtful to say about you, and he or she accidentally sent that text to you, and you immediately knew that they meant to send it to someone else. Maybe you felt this way when your mom or dad told your family that you were going to have to move because of a job change. Maybe you felt this way when you experienced an injury at the beginning of your sports season, or maybe your boyfriend or girlfriend broke up with you. over text. Maybe you got a rejection letter from the college you were dreaming of attending. Unfortunately, this list could go on for a while with examples of times when your world was rocked by some shocking news or circumstances. If you haven't experienced it yet, there'll be a time in your life when this happens. The thing about these shockingly painful moments is that they often hit us out of nowhere. Because of that, it's difficult for us to know how they'll make us feel. And because of that, it's difficult for us to know how we'll respond. Sometimes we're surprised by how well we handle it. We think, wow, I figured that news like this would take me to the edge, but I'm actually okay. Sometimes we surprise ourselves by how much it tears us apart. We think, I don't even know why I'm so upset, but I am a mess. Sometimes we consider, where is God in all of this? Because we're all wired differently, we experience hurt differently. But that doesn't change the fact that hurt hurts. That's the bad news. The good news is that we're going back to the life of Joseph as a model for how to handle unexpected pain. Joseph is one of the most famous people in the Old Testament of the Bible. Joseph had some family drama that he definitely played a part in creating. He was his dad's favorite child and therefore given special treatment compared to his brothers. And on top of that, he had a dream that his brothers and even his parents bowed down to him out of respect and honor. And because Joseph seemed to have a hard time picking up on social cues, he shared his dream with his family. You can imagine how well that went. His brothers were not okay with him being his dad's favorite. His brothers were not okay with him sharing his dreams of ruling over them. So how did they respond? Check this out. But they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. That escalated quickly, and it gets worse. Here comes that dreamer, they said to each other. Come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns and say that a ferocious animal devoured him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams. Despite his anger toward Joseph, one of his brothers actually had a conscience in the moment. When Reuben heard this, he tried to rescue him from their hands. Let's not take his life, he said. Don't shed any blood. Throw him into the cistern here in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him. Reuben said this to rescue him from them and take him back to his father. Thank goodness for Reuben. He convinced his brothers to throw Joseph into a well instead of going homicidal on him. He even planned on coming back to rescue Joseph later. The brothers listened to Reuben, and when Joseph approached, they ripped off the special coat his father had given him, and they threw him in a well. If Joseph had a phone, this is when he would text his best friend. When your brothers tear off your jacket and throw you into a well, SMH, shock face. But they still are not done with him. They notice a caravan of traders approaching. Judah, another one of Joseph's many brothers, suggests that they sell Joseph to these traders. After all, selling Joseph to a group of people who would most likely make him a slave is much better than murdering him, right? So that's exactly what they do. They dip Joseph's coat into, that's exactly what they do. They dip Joseph's coat in the blood of a wild animal, and they take it to their father and tell him that Joseph was likely attacked and killed by an animal. What a cover story. They took the ornate robe back to their father and said, "We found this. Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe." That last line tells us everything we need to know about the situation. The brothers obviously knew that the coat belonged to Joseph. They brought it up to let their dad know that they noticed the way he favored Joseph, and they were mad about it. They didn't call it Joseph's robe or our brother's robe. They said, your son's robe. What a bunch of jealous jerks. This is where Joseph would probably be texting again. Good news, my brothers pulled me out of the well. Bad news, they sold me to some traders who are now taking me out of town. I am not in a good place. Shock face. I'm being a bit lighthearted, but there was nothing lighthearted about the situation. We simply can't imagine the fear, despair, uncertainty, anger, and hurt that he felt. Betrayed by his own flesh and blood, sold into slavery by the brothers he grew up with. The message being sent was loud and clear. We are all better off without you. This was clearly a what to do when you don't know what to do moment. Our stories are different than Joseph's, but we'll all experience pain of some kind. We'll have painful moments that catch us off guard. We'll have moments when life doesn't make sense and we don't have the words to process what's happening. Unfortunately for Joseph, he had more shocking moments in his future. We'll look at some of those in the next few weeks, but I want to highlight 5 powerful words that show up in his life. The Lord was with Joseph. You see, when Joseph was in despair and wondering how life would turn out, he could rely on the truth that God was with him. This truth didn't change the reality of Joseph's situation, but there was comfort in knowing that he wasn't alone. This truth didn't mean that Joseph could see where the story was going, but he could know that God was with him. This truth didn't mean that Joseph could easily deal with the things that happened to him. It didn't mean that he had a reason or explanation for the pain in his life, but he didn't have to figure out those things all by himself. And the same is true for us. When there is nothing you can do, God is with you. When life hands you shocking news and you don't know what to do, God is with you. When you and I can truly understand and embrace this truth, it changes things. Our circumstances may not change. After all, Joseph wasn't immediately returned to his parents, but it changes our perspective on our pain. It changes how we see what we're going through. Knowing that God is with us may not change our circumstances, but it might just change us. It might just give us enough hope to keep going, even in the midst of hopeless situations. It's easy to give in to the hurt we've experienced. It's easy to let fear overwhelm us or anger consume us. We have a lot of reasons to let difficult and sometimes unfair situations get the last word. But when we know that God is with us, the uncertainty of life doesn't get the last word. God does. But what does that look like for us? There are no formulas or easy answers for getting through hard times, but here are some things to do in the meantime. First, be real. Feel your feelings. Not everyone will experience incredible luck in life, but everyone will go through tough times and pain. All throughout the Bible, people went through difficulties, and there were many accounts of them being real and honest with God about their struggles. There are no cliches to make the hard times go away, and our job isn't to just suck it up and act like everything's okay. If we believe that God is with us, then we should know that God is more than okay with our honest questions, doubts, and fears. Second, remind yourself that God is with you. Here's a spoiler alert. Things did eventually work out for Joseph, but we know that because we can read the whole story in the Bible. But when Joseph was in it, he didn't know how it would turn out. There were no spoiler alerts for him. All he could do is face another day wondering how things would turn out. But he held on to one thing, that God was with him. In moments when life is toughest, that's when this reminder is most important. God is with you, and your story isn't over yet. Our life will be full of moments where we don't know what to do about our pain. We'll want to insert the shock face emoji a lot of times. In those moments, it's important to know that when you don't know what to do, God is with you. And we know that God is with you and for you, it will give you the hope when things feel hopeless. It won't make the difficult circumstances go away, but you'll have something to count on. You will know that you are not alone.
All right. Man, that is so good. You will know you're not alone. When there's nothing you can do, God is with you. And the truth is that we're here for you. I know that you've got friends that are there for you. There's people there for you. And you are not alone. How was the video? How did you guys enjoy that tonight? How did you enjoy the lesson? We're going to get into some questions, and I'm going to start with this one. Describe a situation where you felt things were out of your control. And so a couple of things that we have, being stuck in traffic. I don't know how many of you have been stuck in traffic before. I used to work in downtown Dallas, and oh man, I would be stuck in traffic all the time. Highway 75. Oh man, and when you get stuck in traffic, there's just absolutely nothing you can do. You're there, and there's no going anywhere. You're there, and that's it. I've got several. Which mood are we going for? Whatever. Right now, yeah, we wrote that down too, Caitlin. Whatever you want, Trey. Whatever you want to throw out there. Right now is obviously the best example because we're all stuck in a situation where we can't do anything. It's out of our control. Pick a day of the week, Dylan. Yeah, seriously. We also have whenever your electricity goes out, or because Landon works at the water department. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but I said whenever your water goes out, there's nothing I can do. Like you've got one opportunity to use the toilet, and then it's out of commission. So you got to make it last. You got to do it right, at least for a few hours, right? It completely out of your control. Yeah, when you first went to Cambodia, I bet, and I bet that was. Actually, the next question I think will kind of play more into this one. Yeah, it does. What's the worst part of being in a situation where you feel out of control? While you guys type and think about an answer to that, a couple things that we wrote down was not knowing the outcome. Obviously, whenever things are out of your control, you don't know how it's going to happen. And the truth is, we don't really know how anything's going to happen. God is in the ultimate control, and who knows what tomorrow's going to bring. Landon had a good one. He just said, you just feel helpless. You just feel helpless. Like, I mean, what are you going to do, right? So let me see what I have here. Peyton's answering the last question when he moved. Yeah, here they come. I can't do anything about it. Yeah, Jonathan, I mean, that's really it, right? You don't have control. I mean, that's it. And when you are out of control, that's not cool. That's the worst thing. Yeah, you don't know how it's going to end. That's right, Braxton. You become blind in your decisions. Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. Absolutely. Let me move on here, and I'll keep reading. Hey, I know you might have been joking, but seriously, Jonathan says he was joking, but the truth is that is it, right? When you don't feel in control, that can pretty much be the worst part of the situation. Trey says it's situational. Usually it's fear. Yeah, there's a level of fear. And I think that comes from some of the things we talked about, not knowing the outcome, feeling helpless, and so fear creeps into those situations. All right, let's move on here. What do you think were some thoughts Joseph had while he was in the cistern? He gets thrown into this pit by his brothers because he's dad's favorite. What do you think he's thinking in that moment? Excuse me. What would be some of your thoughts? You get thrown into this pit. What are some of your thoughts? Landon and I wrote down a couple of things. Landon says, what did I do? Have you ever been in trouble before and you're like, but why? What did I do? I didn't do anything. Can't go back home. Is this where I die? Yeah, I think I put, I put this, am I going to get out of here? Right? Which kind of is like what Clark said. Is this where I'm going to die? I would feel betrayed, help, fear, scared. Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah, I doubt it. My legs. Yeah, if you get thrown into a big hole, you're probably going to hurt your legs. It's not my fault that I was their favorite. Yeah, all these things, absolutely. All these things that we start thinking and feeling. Yeah, how am I going to get out? Absolutely. All good stuff. Okay, I'm going to go on here. Y'all are interacting really well, enjoying it. Why do you think situations that feel out of your control are more difficult to handle when you feel alone? So let me preface this question a little bit first. One of the worst parts of Joseph's situation was being alone. He was alone in that pit. He had no one with him. And so why do you think situations that feel out of our control are more difficult to handle when you feel alone? And we wrote down a couple things here. No one to talk to, right? I mean, at least having someone there that you can just be like, hey, I am scared. I don't know what's going to happen. And just knowing that someone's there on the other end of a phone or something like that. But when you feel alone, man, I'm looking for comments here. No ideas to bounce off each other. Yeah. And so if you're trying to find a way to get out of this thing and you're like, you can't come up with the ideas on your own. We can't do anything about it or talk to anyone about it. Yeah. Bored? Yeah, you'd be really bored down there. Nothing you can do, you can't get out, no one to talk to. Absolutely. When you're alone, you have nobody to look to, you would start to break down or break out. Yeah, your thoughts can kind of spiral out and leave you in a place that's not healthy. You can kind of start to go crazy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Let's see here. So in that thought, whenever we feel alone, what are some ways that we can be reminded that God is with us? What are some ways that we can be reminded that God is with us? And I'll start off here. Yeah, Blake is right. You're never really alone, though. That's absolutely true. And we talked about that a couple weeks ago. Landon said, just be still. Just be still. Right? Scripture tells us that that's where God is at. He's not in the big, huge things. He's in the silent, the small, still whisper. And so just to be still, kind of relax. Blake says, silence. Yes. I put down count your blessings because Monday in our Bible study, we talked about this a little bit, the idea of writing down everything that's a blessing in your life, and then having that to be able to look at and remind you when you're in a situation where maybe you feel alone, that you can look at that and you can say, man, I am so blessed by God and I know God is with me. Absolutely. Anything else? Anything else coming in right now? All right, let's go on here. Why do we often want to have perfect resolutions even when we know they don't always happen? Why do we often want to have perfect resolutions even when we know they don't always happen? Dylan says to the last question, he gives us people that show us that we are not alone through his will by showing us who actually care. Yeah. Knowing scripture, wishful thinking. Yeah, it could be wishful thinking. I think that there's a healthy amount of wishful thinking that you can have in your life, though, right? Because Scripture tells us that we should have our hope should be in the Lord, and if God is who God says He is, then He can literally do anything. I've been watching Parks and Rec, and so I've got literally. Some of you will laugh at that. Peace is comforting. Yeah, absolutely. We don't like people to see our flaws. Yep. Why do we often want to have perfect resolutions even when we know they don't always happen? It's really good stuff, guys. It's really good stuff. We don't like people to see our flaws. Yeah. All right, let's move on here. Got a couple more for you. What could help you get through situations when you feel stuck? I feel like this could be maybe a little bit of there could be some obvious answers to this. What could help you get through situations when you feel stuck? Obviously having people there to lean on, for instance, friends. I can't get over it. Butter. Yeah. Well, that's a different type of stuck than we're talking about right now, Peyton. But yes, you're not wrong. A way to vent. Yeah. Having a healthy way to express what you're feeling. Jonah is in counseling right now. Not right this minute, but I mean, he's been going to counseling for a few months. And, one of the things that the counselor has talked to Jonah about and to me and Becca as the parents is he needs to be able to release what he's feeling. He doesn't need to hold it in. And so let him go to his room and scream if he wants to. Let out. A healthy way to vent is good. Having a friend, talk it out. Music. Yeah, music is such a powerful way to help you get through something when you feel stuck. Yeah, really, really great. Really great stuff. All right, everyone's loving on Clark now. It's Clark's time. Okay, moving on here. What would you say to one of your friends if they were in that situation? So now let's make it personal. Let's actually put this into application here. You have a friend who feels stuck. What do you say to your friend? They feel stuck in life, not stuck like what Peyton was saying earlier. Peyton says, here's some butter. Maybe that will help. No, not that. But what do you say? I wouldn't say anything yet. I'd first offer myself as someone who will listen. Oh man, so good. So good. There's so much more to be said just by listening. What that says about you and your ability to just be present with someone so they know they're not alone, right? Try and relate and just love them. Absolutely. Yeah, that falls right into what Trey was saying. Just love them. And sometimes just loving someone is just letting them know that you're there for them. Just letting them know that you're present. Tell them that you are there for them no matter what. Ask them if they want advice or just somebody to listen to them. Yep. Let's do it together. God is always with you, Callie says that. Dylan says, here, have some food. Let me tell you something. That is so true. And if it's the right person, then that's what they need, right? Let's just go eat a bunch of junk food, right? And we'll feel better. As I give them a blanket, a buffet while throwing them a blanket and sitting with them. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Just being there. Yeah, Blake says in the book of Job, it says sometimes you just have to be silent. Just be there. And it does say that in Job. There's just a time where Job has just gone through this terrible, terrible event. And his friends that are with him, they're just present. They're just there. And they don't say anything. Yeah, absolutely. It's all good stuff, guys. It's all good stuff, man. It's all good. Anything else? Well, that is all of my questions for you tonight, but I'm wondering if maybe you have any questions for me. Our topic tonight, just so you remember, was when there's nothing you can do, God is with you. And you can ask questions about that topic, or you can ask questions about whatever you want. We haven't had, the first night that we did this, Landon, we had 7 or 8 questions come in, just random questions, just all over the place. And we really haven't had any since then. So I'm wondering if in the last 3 or 4 weeks, if you guys have had any questions that you've been wanting to ask, or throw at me and see if you can make me stumble here. Schaefer says hi, by the way. Hey, Schaefer, it's good to have you here. Have you been liking the weather? Okay, I have not been happy with the weather because it hasn't been consistent. I would really like to know when I wake up that I can still be wearing the same thing that I put on in the morning and the afternoon and not be, crazy sweating. And so for me, I've been just planning for the afternoon weather. And so I just wake up and put shorts on and a short sleeve t-shirt. And so in the mornings I'm cold. In fact, I can't pull it out. Dina has gotten me a floor heater, because I'm cold in the morning, and then by the afternoon I'm feeling good. So I'm not really happy with the weather right now. What have I been doing for fun? Well, I am in the last week. Guys, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but this is really exciting. Here, hold on. I'm sorry. I apologize. Let me do this. I am in the last week of my undergrad program. And so I have not been having any fun. I have been doing schoolwork pretty much in all of my free time. I've been doing schoolwork, and so not a lot to do there. Sure miss seeing you amazing bunch of kids. Man, I miss seeing all of y'all so much. Christy says she miss seeing y'all. I keep hearing that. Landon misses seeing you guys. Here's what really I miss a lot. I miss playing games, right? 9 Square or basketball or just whatever. Just being together and having fun, I totally miss that. Let's see. What else? Did we get any other questions that I missed? Have I ever had an ear infection both ears at the same time? No, but Jonah used to all the time, and so he had to get those tubes in his ears when he was 2, and he hasn't had one since then. So maybe, Peyton, you need to get some tubes in your ear. Look into that. Tell your mom. Be like, Mom, I need some tubes in my ears. It'll help. Shay says I need to come work out with her. Listen, Shay, it's just, I just don't see that happening anytime soon. But you know what? The Lord works in mysterious ways, so who knows? Who knows? I miss having to do push-ups after I get myself out in 9 square in the air. Yes. Yes. Man, this is fun. This is fun, just sitting here and just talking. I know that we're not really talking, but we kind of are. Justin should have some extra
It's supposed to say time.
Time to put towards
I don't know why I
workouts.
corrected you.
Oh, you should.
like, wait a
Can you
minute.
not edit that comment? Come on, dude. Gosh. Come work. Oh, Dylan, are you working out with Shay? I start to work out with him. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I don't know. Are you reading any good books? Yes, I am. That's a really good question, Adrian. So my resolution for the year was to start and finish 1 book per month for this year. And so let me tell you a little bit about this. I have a lot of books on my bookshelf at home that I want to read. But I have a really bad habit of starting a book and getting about halfway through, and then I lose focus and I lose interest and I move on to another book. And so I have been reading lots of books this year, mostly nonfiction and mostly things about leadership and about really how to communicate with Gen Z. And so, yeah, lots of really good books that I've been reading. The most recent book that I finished was called Lead Small, and it's about leading small groups. And then before that, I read a book called So the Next Generation Will Know, and it's a book about apologetics. And so I have some really cool ideas for apologetic stuff that we can start doing once we get back together. Reading some old series, So you're saying Trey's reading some series right now from when he was younger. There's a new series that just came out on Netflix, Trey. I haven't watched it all yet. So far, it's not inappropriate, but it's about the Waco. It's called Waco, but there's this big, huge thing that happened in Waco in the early 90s, and there's like a cult, and this dude was like proclaiming to his people that he was Jesus. Anyways, so far it's really good. It's really good, and it's not. Now I haven't seen it all yet, so I can't vouch for its appropriateness through the whole thing, but really interesting. 93. John says he wasn't alive in 93.
There's a movie called 1993.
Oh, there's a movie called 1993. I think 93 is when that happened, though, too.
Oh, you're right. That is.
Yeah, cults are. It's interesting, Trey. I think you'd enjoy it, bud. Let me ask you guys a question, because y'all were talking about Minecraft earlier. Y'all hit me up and let me know in the chat right now. Someone tell me what Jonah wants to start playing Minecraft. Jonah is 6. We can get Minecraft on the Nintendo Switch, and he's been playing on Nintendo Switch. But Minecraft, it says, is rated for 10 and plus. And so y'all let me know. Is there anything that I need to watch out for in Minecraft that my 6-year-old doesn't need to play? Landon says no, but I'll wait and see. We have some experts in here, Landon.
Hey,
I'm just
I haven't
saying.
played Minecraft.
I know. I'm just saying. We've got some experts going on in here. The Flash is a really great TV. If you're talking about the TV show, The Flash, that is on the CW. That is a great TV show. But I haven't watched the last couple of seasons because I was watching it on Netflix. Peyton says he's good. Braxton is good. Pixel Zombies, I think he'll be okay. Oh, Minecraft has a peaceful option. Interesting. Okay. The blocks are not child friendly. Are you trying to say that the blocks would be hard for him to be able to break and build and stuff? If that's the case, I'm not that worried about it. Summer says it's the bomb. Summer, just didn't take you as someone playing video games, and it makes me really happy to know that you're playing Minecraft. We rented I Still Believe in the Art of Racing in the Rain, and they were awesome movies. Did you do that on Apple TV or Redbox, or how did you rent those, Christy? If he can play Fortnite, then I guess we good. He cannot play Fortnite. He's not going to be doing that. Some of the blocks are scary. Okay, well, we'll see about that. Do we start a church Minecraft server in summer? You don't play Minecraft? Oh, okay. He's talking to Summer. Redbox. So Christy got some good movies on Redbox. That's awesome. Can you check and make sure the AC is still on? It's getting a little warm in here. I'm not liking the warmth right now. Look at that. We just started a Minecraft server. If anyone's joining into our YouTube or thing, there may be someone that joins in our YouTube and watches this video later and they're like, what is going on right now? Listen, you got to understand, we have been in quarantine for over a month, almost 2 months. We haven't seen each other and we just need to talk. We needed this time today just to hang out with each other and talk. So y'all leave us alone. When's the lock-in? When's the lock-in? You know what? With all of this going on, we might actually do a lock-in this year. But here's what we will do for sure. We are for sure going to have a, what is it called? Game day, video game day. So we did it last year over the summer, and so we can do that. Hey, you know what? I'll tell you what we can do. I can go get on Brent's computer real quick. Brent's computer has Zoom. How many of you have Zoom? And we can do a Zoom live chat session for a little bit. So if y'all don't have Zoom, get Zoom, and I will start sending out the code here in just a minute. Download Zoom. It's a free app tray on your phone. Okay. All right, I'm going to kill this video. I'm going to go set up a Zoom session. I'll start texting it out and everything. I can text it to you, Clark. All right. If you don't have Zoom or you don't get the message, y'all message each other. When I send this message out, y'all message each other, get the Zoom info. We'll get on and we'll have a chat. All right, guys. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you momentarily.